I will be heading off on a trip to Europe, actually just leaving in a couple days. First to Krakow, my hometown. I'm arriving on the 23rd. I'm going to Czech Republic, Poland, Slovakia, and France. I'll be presenting at 3 mountain film festivals, where I also hope to meet outdoor women and hopefully ones that fly. Over the last few years, I've already met a few women that fly. Just south of Lima, about an hour, with Jenny getting her first paragliding lesson. And I met this wonderful woman. Her name was Jenny. And she was a journalist, a photojournalist for a beautiful magazine called Rumbas in Peru. We drove south to the dunes. I was filming, I was, thinking this was just an introduction course, but next thing I knew, Lucio had her strapped in the harness, and the breeze was coming up, and he just gave her a little nudge. She ran and she flew, her first flight. Was this my flying Cinderella? Oh, I was so excited. I was building my house, and I thought she'd come over for a few months and keep me company, meet my friends, and just see how we get along. But unfortunately, Canadian immigration had other plans. They refused her visa entry. Shortly thereafter, I also got an email that she had met somebody else.
I was really sad. I had such a connection to Peru, and Jenny really was so special. After all, my life was saved in Peru. In 1979, I fell skiing down the entire face of 6,000 meter peak, Ranrapalca, in the Peruvian Andes. I was rescued by a Peruvian climber, Amerigo Tordoya. He died since in an avalanche in Chile. An institute exists for him now. Since then, I have always been known as Peter Peru. Every time I travel and I come back, I really feel blessed that I really live in one of the most beautiful places in the world. I always loved to ski. My whole life revolved around extreme skiing at one time. I did the racing thing, the freestyle, even tried speed skiing. But it was really the powder skiing that captivated me most. Powder, to me, was the ultimate skiing experience. But when I started paragliding, I realized that it was the floating sensation which attracted me so to the sport. It was really the weightlessness and the near-flying sensation. I later realized, when I started to paraglide, that I loved powder so much simply because I just wanted to fly. I was always hanging out in Pemberton and Whistler. I knew I wanted to be in that area, and I found a beautiful property on the outskirts of Pemberton. It was 1,500 feet above the valley floor. I drove up, climbed a tree, saw the view, and I thought, wow, if I ever would have a place, I'd love to have a place here.
Let's take a look at the house.
Getting grounded for the first time and building a home really made me think, well, if I have a home in such a beautiful place, it's really not a place to be living alone.
Peter's not a person who has ever really learned to clean the kitchen up. He's not a messy person, like he doesn't leave things around, which I leave things around everywhere. He was my roommate for a time, I should say, so this is how I can, elaborate on details, but he just really never really learned much about taking care of the kitchen, but I've noticed he's much better at it now than he used to be.
Maybe he needs a partner sometimes that just takes the dishes. Pulls them out the window. Well, I don't like doing dishes either.
Peter. Peter is Peter. What you see is what you get. No bullshit.
I have so many friends and neighbors that fly in Pemberton and Whistler. We have a community of about 30 people. Pemberton is just one of those satellite communities around the ski resort, and a peculiar community of people that have chosen flying as their favorite thing to do.
It's awesome because you discover the country from above.
This is our friend Eve. He's walked out the window of the sailplane and go for a little happy ride.
My aunt gave me those gloves. Little did she know what they would be used for. I used films so often as a catalyst to achieve what I want in the end. That's why I'm looking for my Cinderella, to bring her back to this incredible location and meet my friends and do some flying with me and see how we get along.
Peter could not keep a relationship because he's a very free man and very selfish, by the way. I don't think that he wants to sacrifice his pleasure to be with somebody and to compromise. The same is with me.
And what does your mom think about this trip?
She's actually amazingly calm about it. She does, you know, I think she's just tired of me and she just wants me out of here for a month. No, how's everything?
I have to clean all my house after your departure, but I will be okay. I can relax when you are gone. Bye-bye. I would like Peter to get married or to get a steady relationship, even to have children. I don't have any grandchildren, and I think he's getting older and he should think about it.
Actually, I moved in here with my mom until the house is finished.
Do up your chin strap.
It's been tough, you know, living at home with a parent when you're 50 years old.
Down more, put another pad at the back.
By the way, it's the easiest way to get that house in Pemberton done. I think like any mother, my mother just always wanted the best for me, and I had really put her through a lot with all the extreme trips and accidents and, you know, phone calls from doctors and friends. Well, here we are. I'm looking for Zoom Airlines. Zoom Airlines that all the Cinderellas fly on.
Every time I go through airports, I reflect back on the trip I did with Heather back in 1986. We were invited to join a crew of 9 people going around the world on an old DC-3 airplane. We traveled through 28 countries, visiting 50 cities, all in just 60 days. I think Heather really reassured me that it was indeed documentary films which I wanted to do all my life. The Odyssey trip was remarkable. And the trip came so suddenly, magically almost, like so many things we ventured on with Heather. We only had 4 days' notice before this journey.
We met with the world leaders and invited them back to Expo, to Canada. Well, the trip was sponsored by the Sheraton Hotel, so we'd stayed in the Sheraton all around the world. And something happened. I mean, we'd missed typhoons by 1 day in landing in one country, and then we'd miss epidemics in another. And I fell down from exhaustion in Egypt. I just couldn't go another step and missed the country that I really wanted to see the most. Peter went exploring there by himself and went into the houses of people that lived there and made friends. And we went right out and got amazing footage.